thought it's the one who set you up. Oh! You didn't know I could focus.
Metallo, the kryptonite-powered cyborg, origin explored. Oftentimes, we use the phrase stone-hearted person as an exaggeration to describe certain behavior. But here, we have a character who quite literally has a stone for a heart. Introducing Metallo, a cyborg with a kryptonite-powered heart and superhuman strength. Created by Plastino and Robert Bernstein, this supervillain was first introduced in Action Comics and has a long history of working as a mercenary. He's fought against various superheroes, especially Superman, over the course of multiple comic arcs. Let us dive into his origins and explore his first appearance. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Metallo's first comic book appearance. The Action Comics number 252 marks the introductory appearance of Metallo, aka John Corbin, a former reporter. As Corbin drives around in his car while listening to a crime show, he ends up critically injured in an unfortunate road accident. He is rescued by Professor Vale and his assistant, who rescue him from the site in their car and take him to the hospital. As the assistant drives to the hospital, Vale decides that the best course of action would be to just treat him in his lab. He is certain that Corbin would not survive the procedures offered at a hospital and that he could perform better experimental surgery that will ensure Corbin's survival. Professor Vale operates on him in his lab, testing out his own research for bodily altercations. Post-surgery, Corbin wakes up to discover that he has become a sort of mechanical robot who has a mechanical heart. Vale tells him that his heart is made of uranium with a fuse box that has two elements that gives him the energy to keep going. Vale further says that he needs to replace the uranium capsule in his new heart every day or else he will die. Corbin's limbs had also been replaced with a metallic armor plate and covered up with a plastic skin. Just then, a disruption outside the laboratory causes Vale to suffer from a stroke and he falls unconscious. As Corbin tries to call for help, he accidentally breaks the door open and discovers the extent of his strength. Leaving Vale behind, he decides to leave the place and return later to find out about the second element needed for his survival. Corbin then applies for a job at the Daily Planet, where he finds himself in the company of Lois Lane and Clark Kent himself. Kent finds Corbin's strength suspicious and keeps an eye on him as they work together. Meanwhile, Corbin finds himself weakening due to the uranium capsule running out. While Superman goes on a mission, the other Man of Steel, Metallo, sneaks into an atomic research laboratory to get more uranium supplies to restore his energy. He continues to sneak into more labs and wreaks havoc in his endeavors to get more uranium supplies for his future use. The next day, while Superman is off to save a woman, Lois ends up getting attacked by a gang of criminals. Corbin dodges the bullet meant for her with his metallic suit and Lois falls for him, sure of the fact that he is Superman. In the meantime, the local news declares that all uranium stocks will be heavily guarded due to the menace Metallo. Metallo devises a plan to sneak into these labs disguised as Superman, and he ends up stealing a year's worth of uranium. However, he finds himself cornered by the real Superman who is in the same vicinity. With some luck, Metallo escapes the scene without getting caught, but ends up losing his uranium tanks. He decides to finally pay Vale a visit and meets up with the professor to find an alternate source of energy. Vale tells him that the green kryptonite could power his mechanical heart just as well as uranium, and it is also the better choice since it need not be replaced. Metallo robs a kryptonite rock from a local museum and returns to Vale, who installs the new kryptonite heart through an implant surgery. Vale also tries to provoke Metallo into attacking Superman and tells him that he could destroy the superhero with kryptonite. Realizing that Superman will most probably arrest him for his recent stealing anyway, Metallo decides to use his newly acquired kryptonite's power to attack Superman right away. He sets up an ambush, but Superman overpowers him as Metallo begins to weaken. Metallo tries to escape Superman by going to Lois Lane's apartment, where he collapses on the floor. It appears that the kryptonite he stole was just a regular rock that had been painted green to look real. Consequently, Metallo finds himself losing his energy and dies of a heart attack. After his death, Superman and the police run fingerprints on the stolen uranium tanks, and Metallo's real identity as John Corbin is also revealed. Metallo origin in DCAU. Originally, John Corbin's Metallo was a mercenary who also pulled off robberies and small crimes, all while working under the guise of a reporter. On one such robbery, he is commissioned by Lex Luthor himself to lead a group of mercenaries to steal a high-powered suit from LexCorp. However, Lois Lane finds him escaping in a ship with his gang and attacks her. Corbin ends up fighting her and almost kills her before Superman intervenes. Corbin uses the stolen suit himself to fight against Superman. However, the superhero emerges victorious and the Lex-So Skell suit ends up getting destroyed. Corbin appears in numerous series and adaptations across the DCAU and is a huge part of the Superman animated series where he appears in various episodes, namely The Last Son of Krypton, The Way of All Flesh, Heavy Metal, Superman's Pal, etc. He even appears in an episode of the Justice League series and has cameos in the Justice League Unlimited animated series. Though Metallo has quite a lot of variations in his origin stories, at some point they all revolve around his experimental surgery by Emmett Vale, who hardwired Metallo into thinking that the Superman is his nemesis. Over the years, Metallo evolves into a vicious machine that is capable of doing great evils and wreaking havoc.
Wasn't even trying. Satisfied?
What makes Metallo so deadly? Metallo's bodily enhancement is the major source of his power, without which he can easily be defeated. His artificial heart powered by the kryptonite and his metallic robot body helps him stay in a deadly form forever. As the years pass by, Metallo keeps modifying his body to his original biological form to appear more natural and is an ever-changing supervillain. Metallo also has superhuman strength due to his experimental transformations and uses the radiation from the kryptonite to emit fire and energy from his body at will. He is quite indestructible and has superhuman durability that will sustain him for ages to come. While in combat, Metallo can also perform complex calculations in his brain to determine tactics against various opponents, making him very hard to defeat. Additionally, he also has enhanced sensory reception that is beyond human scope. He also keeps a log of his personal experiences in an internal data bank and can extract information or calculate probabilities of certain situations as fast as an advanced computer. His nature of work has made him a pro while dealing with mechanics and technology. Though Metallo has deadly powers, he relies on kryptonite to keep himself alive. Without kryptonite or uranium to power his heart, Metallo will lose his functioning and can be easily defeated.
I cannot let you win. I gave the bat a fighting chance to do it, but he was not strong enough. So, if man won't kill God.
Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice hints at the birth of Metallo in the DCEU. Jack Snyder's Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice was already quite jam-packed with actors and storylines complete with the holy trinity of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Though the movie mainly focused on this trio's fight against Lex Luthor and his monstrous creation Doomsday, it also foreshadows Metallo's birth. In a film packed with details, one of the smaller Easter eggs that may easily slide under the radar is Professor Emmett Vale's participation in creating Doomsday. Vale assisted Lex Luthor in testing the newly found kryptonite on General Zod's corpse. They experiment with his body to learn more about the effects of kryptonite, and this initial interest in kryptonite fuels Vale's future obsessions with it. This scene foreshadows his experimental surgery on Corbin, which leads to the creation of Metallo, his best invention to date. Metallo, in fact, played a considerably larger part in early versions of this film. Rather than creating a new character, Metallo's initial identity was supposed to be Wallace Keefe, a guy who lost his limbs in the Battle of Metropolis and resented Superman for ruining his life. Some of DCEU's unclaimed concept art even depicts what Keefe would look like as the supervillain. Simply put, Keefe's background history made him an ideal candidate to be a villain, as he blames Superman for losing his legs, which led to him furthermore losing his job and family too. Keefe was also once talked into persuading Bruce Wayne into attacking Superman by Lex Luthor. Though Metallo has not yet received his big moment on the screen, it is entirely plausible that we might get to see more of him at some point in the DCEU. Terrifying versions of Metallo and various forms of media explored. Various forms of Metallo appeared in different forms of media across the DC universe, and he is seen in live actions, animated series, video games, and even on radio. The Roger Corman version of Metallo appears in the animated TV show Superboy, where Metallo is a bank robber with a heart condition. The original John Corman Metallo appears in Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman, wherein Corman is introduced as Lois Lane's boyfriend. John's Metallo also appears in the TV series Smallville, where it is portrayed by Brian Austin Green. Metallo appears in 5 different versions in the Arrowverse, and his presence is constant across the Supergirl series and the Crisis on Earth X crossover episodes. In these episodes, Metallo plays the role of a mercenary, a laboratory guard, and a robot used by a Nazi regime on the Earth X, among others. Metallo also appears in the animated Batman series where he plays the role of a mercenary hired to kill Superman, and also has a cameo in the Batman, the Brave and the Bold series. As discussed earlier, he is also seen in the animated Superman series as well as the Justice League series. Additionally, a version of Corbin appears in the animated Justice League action where Metallo fights against a female version of Superman. He also makes a cameo in an episode of the Harley Quinn series where Metallo is introduced in the Legion of Doom. Metallo's appearances across the DCAU are widespread, and he even makes appearances in the animated film Superman/Batman Public Enemies, where he plays the role of Lex Luthor's bodyguard. He appears in the animated Justice League Doom and also has a cameo in the animated films All-Star Superman and The Death of Superman. Metallo was also supposed to be included in Snyder's Man of Steel sequel, which was later replaced by Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. He was written into the earlier draft of the movie, but it was never finalized. Metallo has also been included in various avatars across many DC video games, some of them being Superman: Shadow of Apocalypse, Superman: The New Adventures, Superman: The Man of Steel, DC Universe Online, Injustice: Gods Among Us, Strikers Island Stage. He is also included as a character in the LEGO DC Supervillain video games, as well as the LEGO Batman 3. Finally, Metallo also makes an appearance in Dirk Maggs' 1990 BBC radio adaptation of The Man of Steel, where he is portrayed by Simon Treves. Conclusion. In summation, the kryptonite-powered cyborg is one heck of a seasoned villain. Metallo has seen many battles, and he is a challenging opponent even for our superheroes. Escaping or defeating Metallo is no easy feat, and it is advisable to stay out of his radar since it will be very hard to escape it for sure. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.